This old man was attacked by bandits who wanted to take everything he had. Then suddenly a wolf appeared. What happened next was unbelievable. Dmitry was humming along with the radio as he drove down the quiet, snow-covered road in the Taiga. He was on his way to a small, run-down cabin deep in the forest. This place had been his refuge since the death of his beloved wife, Anna, 3 years ago. The warm wooden cabin gave him a quiet sanctuary away from the harshness of the world. But as Dmitry approached a bend, he noticed something strange in the middle of the road. There was a pile of sharp logs blocking his way. His old eyes narrowed. These trees hadn't fallen by accident. Their cuts looked far too clean, and they were arranged carefully. He felt worried, but he had no other choice, so he was forced to stop. To the old man, it seemed these were obstacles placed with malicious intent, so he slowed his car, his feet on the brakes, gripping the steering wheel while his mind raced. Bandits, he could feel it deep inside. The Taiga, with its hidden pockets and remote villages, was not just a place to escape the troubles of life, but also a haven for outlaws and harsh men who preyed on the simple and the unfortunate. Someone emerged from behind the nearby trees, a large man with a thick beard carrying a frightening axe. 2 other men appeared from the snow, each holding a rifle. Dmitry understood immediately who they were. Bandits. They were always lurking in these forests, wolves in human skin, waiting for some unlucky person to fall into their trap cautiously. Dmitry unfastened his seatbelt and reached for the old rifle hidden behind the driver's seat. It was a remnant from his earlier days as a hunting enthusiast, a loyal companion in the harsh wilderness. But before the old man could move, 2 of the bandits pointed their guns at him, ordering him to stop. 2 more came out and stood behind the car, making them 6 in total, while he was alone. For the first time in a long while, Dmitry began to feel afraid. But at the same time, he felt another emotion, a spark of defiance. As his late wife always used to say, he was a stubborn man who refused to give up easily. Dmitry remained calm as the bandit with the axe approached him. He looked at him and asked calmly and steadily what they wanted. The bandit laughed with a strange, harsh sound that echoed among the silent trees. He told Dmitry that he wanted everything he had, his money, his car, and his life. Dmitry knew that he couldn't face these men. However, he refused to give up. He wouldn't let the bandits steal his life, his car, or even the watch his late wife had given him. He would face them, even if it meant facing death itself. Dmitry stood firm, his gaze unwavering, and told them to leave him alone because he had nothing for them. The leader of the bandits laughed harshly and told him that he had a nice-looking car and he was sure his pockets were full of rubles. They wanted him to hand over everything, and they would give him an easy way out of this world. While the bandit was talking, he was raising the axe in his hands, shining in the fading sunlight. Dmitry tightened his grip on the steering wheel. He knew he couldn't escape from them, and he couldn't face them head-on, but he wouldn't give up that easily. He was a man of the taiga, harsh and unforgiving like the land itself, and he wouldn't let the bandits bring him down without a fight. When the bandits noticed that the old man was stubborn, they didn't waste any time. They broke the car window, pulled him out forcefully, and threw him to the ground. The cold snow stung the old man as he felt the sharp bite of ice on his face. When he looked at the men, he saw that they were not ordinary bandits, and his intuition was correct. In fact, these criminals were escaped prisoners from a distant Siberian camp in the frozen tundra. The harsh conditions of the prison had turned them into ruthless individuals without any mercy. To them, the life of an old man meant nothing. The bandits dragged Dmitry across the snow and beat him brutally. Each blow sounded terrifying. Dmitry felt every sting of pain, but his spirit remained unbroken even after they beat him until he nearly lost consciousness. The bandits demanded the keys to the truck. Their plan was to use the old man's car to escape from the Taiga. Although they had managed to break out of their prison, they knew that a police patrol would be searching for them soon. But the old man was not about to surrender to these criminals or become a victim of their escape plan. He had endured the Taiga's harshness for years. He knows this land well, and he knows how to get out of this situation. In a moment of quick thinking, Dmitry came up with a clever plan. He told the bandits that his car wouldn't start because of the freezing cold, pretending to be worried, and claimed he needed to get under the car to check the engine. The bandits reluctantly agreed, but they remained alert. As Dmitry slid under the truck, the bandits stayed cautious, but they didn't stay that way for long. In a stroke of luck, they noticed some packs of cigarettes in front of the car and happily grabbed them. To them, it was a taste of freedom, something they had been deprived of in prison. But they didn't know that Dmitry was planning his own escape under the car. The old man worked quickly. He knew every nook and cranny of his vehicle and skillfully used that knowledge. With a firm jaw and a focused mind, he swiftly disabled the truck's ignition system, cutting the connection between the key and the engine. After completing his trick, the old man moved silently, taking advantage of the bandits being distracted by the cigarettes. While the smoke rose in the cold air, Dmitry slipped away unnoticed. The bandits were busy enjoying themselves, to the extent that they didn't notice the old man's disappearance. They never imagined that the old man they had beaten would dare to escape right under their noses after they finished their cigarettes. The criminals finally looked under the truck to see what was taking Dmitry so long, but instead of seeing the old man, they were faced with a terrifying reality. Dmitry had disappeared from under the vehicle. And to make matters worse, the car refused to start. No matter how hard they tried, the bandits were in a state of extreme anger. They searched the snowy surrounding areas for any trace of the old man. They became angry then. It had become personal. They had to find the old man and get rid of him for good. Meanwhile, Dmitry was running through the snow-covered landscape, his old heart pounding in his chest. He hadn't run like this in years, especially in such intense cold, but he had to hurry to reach safety. Before the bandits caught up with him, and as expected, he could hear them behind him. The chase intensified as the bandits closed the distance, their boots pounding, striking against the icy ground. Dmitry knew he wouldn't be able to escape them for long, even with a 20-minute head start. He was old, and his aging body struggled to keep up the pace. The freezing air burned his lungs and his legs were getting tired, but he knew that the Taiga, with its vast expanses and tall trees, offered many hiding places, and he was determined to find one. As he passed through the snow, he saw a tall tree with branches stretching out like skeletal fingers. With a burst of energy, he began to climb the tree. Despite his old body protesting the effort, the old man did not stop until he reached the top of the tree. It was a matter of life or death. The bandits, driven by desperation and a thirst for revenge, followed closely. Searching for any trace of the cunning old man, they knew he couldn't have gone far. No matter how skilled he was still an old man. High up in the tree, Dmitry clung to a sturdy branch and waited quietly. The bandits arrived at the base of the tree a short while later and searched carefully around it. Dmitry held his breath, and everything was silent, as if the taiga itself was holding its breath. The only sounds were the distant rustling of leaves and the soft crunch of snow beneath the bandits' boots. The criminals couldn't find the old man, so they stopped under the tree to think about what to do next. But Dmitry's luck was about to run out. In an unexpected turn, a little bird flew near him. The little bird didn't understand the tension going on and kept flying around the old man with its delicate wings. Dmitry ignored the bird, but the little bird was interested in the disguised old man, driven by its instinct. The bird flew toward Dmitry and started pecking at his face. Dmitry gasped as he struggled to keep his grip on the branch. The bandits at the base of the tree noticed the sounds and looked up, wondering where the noises were coming from. Dmitry was terrified to his core, but the little bird became even more excited. The bird continued its attack, pecking at Dmitry's face, while the old man tried to shoo away the annoying bird. He lost his grip on the branch and fell from the top of the tree. Dmitry landed on the snowy ground with a terrible sound, clearly dislocating his ankle. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he landed right at the feet of the bandits. Dmitry groaned in pain and rolled onto his back, clutching his side where he had fallen hard. The bandits couldn't believe their eyes. The person they were looking for had fallen right in front of them. The old man was now exposed and weak, about to face the consequences of his defiance. The bandits burst out. They burst into laughter, laughing so hard that Dmitry felt their insides must hurt. One of them slapped another on the shoulder and pointed at Dmitry, saying he thought he was clever, but in reality he had made a terrible mistake. Behind their laughter, they were harboring anger, because Dmitry's quick thinking had disabled their getaway truck, ruining their plan. The bandits told Dmitry he would pay for his stupidity. One of them pulled a pistol from his belt, the same weapon they had taken from the prison guard during their daring escape from the Siberian detention center. The sight of the weapon made Dmitry tremble, but fate intervened unexpectedly as the bandit tightened his finger on the trigger. A new voice pierced the tense silence. Beams of light illuminated the snow and cut through the darkness, and the sound of dogs barking loudly was heard. One of the bandits ran toward them and told them what was coming. It was the prison patrol. Panic broke out in the eyes of the bandits. Their skillful escape plan was threatened with collapse. Within seconds, there was a real possibility that they would be caught and sent back to prison for the rest of their lives. As the patrol approached, the bandits found themselves in a tough situation. Either run and risk being chased by the relentless patrol, or stay and face the consequences of their criminal actions. Dmitry was lying there, injured and exhausted, happy that he was about to be rescued, but as the sounds of the patrol grew closer, the opposite happened. The biggest bandit grabbed Dmitry and told him he was coming with them. The bandits dragged Dmitry brutally through the forest like a sack of potatoes. His ribs hurt, his head throbbed, and his heart pounded in his chest like a trapped bird. The bandits couldn't kill him without making noise, so they left him behind. He was causing trouble with the patrol, so they dragged him with them deeper into the dark forest. Their eyes darted around, and their ears twitched like frightened rabbits. The patrol's lights were like angry eyes following them. Every snap of a branch and every breath of wind sent a chill deep into Dmitry's heart. When darkness swallowed the forest, they reached a rough area filled with sharp rocks, tangled bushes, and slippery slopes. Gritting his teeth, Dmitry warned them that this part of the forest was dangerous. But the bandits didn't listen to him and kept dragging him, only concerned with escaping the patrol. They reached a stream crossing the Taiga. The cold water bit at Dmitry's wounds, increasing his pain. After crossing the stream, they were convinced they had escaped their pursuers. Now they could finally focus entirely on the old man. They threw Dmitry to the ground and began kicking him brutally. The blows rained down on him, each one as heavy as a hammer. One of them pulled out a small knife. It was actually a sharp spoon, but the old man was sure it could do the job. But before he could stab him, something shocking happened. A terrifying howl pierced the night, and a fierce wolf with eyes glowing like embers appeared. It lunged at the nearest bandit, its teeth sinking into his arm like a vice. The air filled with the sounds of growling and biting as the wolf tore into its prey. The bandit leader fired at the wolf, but the bullet had no effect on it, as if in defiance. The wolf tore out the bandit's throat with a swift bite. The man collapsed before Dmitry's eyes. Another bandit fired at the wolf, and this time the wolf let out a sound of pain, but it didn't back down. It lunged at the bandit and bit his hand. Yet another bandit fired at the wolf a third and final time. This time, the wolf fell to the ground, but not before taking him with it. Two of the bandits, but that wasn't right, because a pack of wolves immediately attacked the rest of the bandits. Two of them were devoured instantly, while the remaining bandits... Terror was etched on their faces as they ran toward the nearby stream, but it was too late. The patrol, alerted by the sound of gunfire, rushed to the scene, aiming their lights and weapons at the remaining criminals. They were trapped between fangs and bullets, with nowhere to escape. Finally, Dmitry was rescued. As he lay there, he saw 4 of the bandits who wanted to kill him being devoured by the wolves, while the others were dragged away by the prison guards. While the patrol was treating Dmitry's wounds, his eyes remained fixed on the fallen wolf. It was lying near the stream, its life fading from its injured body. But Dmitry remembered, the wolf was not just any wolf, but the same little pup he had found years ago, lost and injured, whom he had cared for until it regained its strength. And now the wolf had returned that kindness with its life. With trembling hands, Dmitry dug a grave in the snow, his tears falling in the cold air. He gently lifted the wolf's body and buried it, covering the grave with snow, promising never to forget the sacrifice of the wolf who faced fear to save him. The old man continued his journey to the cabin, but the memory of what happened that day stayed with him. The cold air in the taiga felt different now, reminding him of loyalty and loss. Despite the sadness he felt, he was grateful to be alive thanks to the brave wolf. That was something good to hold on to.